Hello, geometry students. This video will be to review sine, cosine, and tangent. First, let's remember the vocabulary. The first trig equation we learned was tangent. Remember that it gets abbreviated as TAN. For tangent, we use the opposite leg, and then we divide it by the adjacent leg. We input theta, this is our reference angle. After tangent, we learned about sine and cosine. Sine is abbreviated SIN, and we use the opposite leg and divide it by the hypotenuse. For cosine, or COS, we input the angle, then we take the adjacent leg and divide it by the hypotenuse. We learned SO, CA, TOA to help us remember which trig function uses which side. Sine, opposite, divided by hypotenuse. Cosine, adjacent, divided by hypotenuse. Tangent, opposite, divided by adjacent. So let's practice when we don't know which trig function to use. Here's an example of a right triangle with our reference angle theta. Our first step is to label our sides. All the way across from theta is our opposite leg. Here's the right angle, and across from the right angle is our hypotenuse. The adjacent leg is the leftover leg, which is next to the angle. Here, we want to find the opposite leg, and we have the hypotenuse. So we have O and H. So we're going to pick SO, or sine, because we have the O, and the H. So we have sine of our angle equals opposite divided by hypotenuse. We want to get x alone. We're dividing by 19. We always want to undo division with multiplication. So then we have 19 times sine of 28. Remember, 19 divided by 19 equals 1, equals x. Here's when we use our calculator. So let me show you how we can use our calculator. Great. We'll go to Desmos and we'll type in sine 28 times, what did we want to multiply by? 19. Make sure we're in DEG, 8.9. So x equals 8.9. Let's see a couple more examples. First thing, let's write SO, toa, and then we'll label. Here's our theta. Across from theta is our opposite leg. Right angle, across from the right angle is our hypotenuse. The last leg next to the angle is our adjacent leg. So in this example, we know the adjacent leg and we want the hypotenuse. So we have A and H. We're going to use cosine of our angle equals A comes first, adjacent divided by hypotenuse H. This algebra is a little bit different because x is in our denominator. X is in the denominator. We always want to multiply by what's in the denominator, always. We got to do it to both sides to keep it equal. This cancels and we get just 18. We want to have x equals something, so we need to undo times cosine of 68. So we will divide by cosine of 68 on both sides. So we have x equals 18 divided by 68. This is calculator time because the variable x is alone. So we'll go to Desmos calculator and we'll do 18 divided by cosine of 68. Enter and we get 48.05. X equals 48.05. Let's see 2 more examples. Here. First thing first, actually, write toa. Now we label our sides. Here's our reference angle. Across from the reference angle is the opposite leg. Right angle across is our hypotenuse. And the last, wrong color. Last leg next to the angle, adjacent leg. So we want the hypotenuse, we have the opposite, that's O and H. So we'll use sine of our reference angle equals opposite comes first, 6 divided by our hypotenuse because it comes second. This one is similar algebra to the last example because we're dividing by x. We want to undo division by multiplying on both sides. Just like in the last example, we need to undo this multiplying to get x alone. So we'll divide by sine of 25. We have x equals 6 divided by sine of 25. Our variable x is alone, so now it's time for your calculator. go to Desmos, type in 6 divided by sine of 25. We get 14.197. Or we could say 14.2 if we round. So x equals 14.2. I think we have one more example to show you. And then come for office hours if you still have questions. Oh, 2 more examples actually. Okay, 2 more examples. Same process. So, toa. Here's the reference angle. Why don't you pause the video now, try this one on your own, and then check your work with me. Okay, reference angle, opposite leg, hypotenuse, adjacent. We have adjacent, we have hypotenuse, A and H, cosine. Try to set it up if you haven't already. Pause the video, try what should go on the right side. Okay, now you're checking your work, x over 3. Now's the time for the algebra step. We should multiply by 3. Hopefully you said 3 because we're dividing by 3 on both sides. What now? Hopefully you said, now it's calculator time because our variable is alone. So 3 times cosine of 75, 0.776 or 0.78 if we're going to round. We can just say 0.776. Oh, did I type this in the correct? Nope, I didn't. It was 3 times cosine of 73. Oops. I'm sorry, students. 0.877. Okay, 0.877. 0.877. All right, glad we checked our work. Why don't you try one more on your own, and then you can check your work with me. So pause the video. Okay, now unpause the video and check your work. Here's our reference angle. Opposite leg. Hypotenuse. And last side is adjacent leg. So we have opposite and adjacent. OA, that's TOA, so tangent. 42 is our angle, equals opposite divided by adjacent. We multiply by 12 since we're dividing by 12. Both sides to keep it equal. Calculator time, because x is alone. So 12 times tangent of 42. Oops, forgot to hit delete. 12 times tangent 42, 10.8. X equals 10.8. I hope this video was helpful. If you still have questions, please ask them during class and come to office hours. See you later this week.